Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Resin Me Up. So today is going to be a video that is a lot different than what you're used to seeing on my channel. Today we're going to go over UV resin from Let's Resin, all of the types of UV resins that they offer. And we're going to go over each one individually, and I'm going to tell you about each one and what they can do and the benefits of each one of the resins. So, and the reason we're going to do this today is because there are so many different types of UV resin out there on the market now that it's very competitive. And so Let's Resin wanted me to go over each one of their resins to tell you about their all of their products and what they have to offer. So, and as you guys know, I do use a lot of, or actually not a lot, I use all of their UV resins on my channel on a regular basis. So we're going to start off today with the clear hard type, and that is this one. And so basically, this package here is a 500 gram package. And what you get in that is, I guess I put the little bottle with that, and I meant to put the big bottles, sorry. So in this container, you get two 250 gram bottles. And you get the lids to it, and then you get a couple of little stir sticks with it. So if you go over what the instructions tell you about the UV resin, which I want to make it very clear, all of the differences between all of the resins, because that I think is what will help you understand the differences on all of them. So for the clear hard type, you can cure it under a UV LED light for 3 to 4 minutes. You can cure it outside under sunlight for 2 to 4 minutes on a sunny day, on 10 to 15 minutes on a cloudy day, and then with a stronger UV light, like for instance their double-sided UV light, 2 to 4 minutes. And they do have a suggested wattage for their UV resin, and they recommend above 6 watts, but not to exceed 54 watts. If the wattage is too high, the UV resin will react too quickly and lead to crinkled surfaces and cause too many bubbles. And then they also tell you that not all nail UV lamps are compatible. So make sure that the wavelength of the lamp is 365 nanometers and above. So if you're using a UV nail lamp, make sure that it's compatible for UV resin, and you're able to cure that. The other thing is this is not for food. It's not food safe. So you want to make sure that you're not making something that you're going to put food on, because it's not food safe. You always want to wear your PPE, wear protective gloves, avoid the contact with your skin, and work in a well-ventilated area. And you want to store this in a cool, dry, dark place, because if you're working next to a window or wherever there is ultraviolet light, it's obviously, going to, even though the bottles are black, if you happen to leave the lid not tightly screwed on, then you could have issues. Some average questions that people tend to ask about UV resin is stickiness. Can you add things to it? how do you reduce the bubbles in UV resin? And they also ask what the shelf life is on it. Is it yellow resistance? They also ask what is the maximum heat resistance for UV resin? And all of those things we'll go over as we get into the differences between all of these. So on the clear hard type, the clear hard type has a fast cure. It's crystal clear. It's bubble free. It's non-toxic. It has very low odor and it's low shrink, high gloss, and yellow resistant. That is mentioned on the bottle of every one of their types. So those are the highlights of these. The hardness for the clear hard type is 85D. The viscosity is 2000 CPS, and the shrinkage is less than 2%. And that's a big deal when you're talking about UV resin, because I've used other brands, and when you cure it, the shrink rate is really a lot. And with the Let's Resin UV resin, there is less than 2% shrinkage, and that makes a big difference when you're filling up a mold or putting it on a top coat, or whatever it is that you're doing. In the final results is the shrinkage, and that's a big importance. You can use it for jewelry, you can use it for keychains, you can use it in smaller molds. The possibilities are endless. The only thing I wouldn't recommend using UV resin in is giant molds. You can, but you would have to do it in layers, like a lot of layers, because you can't pour all of the resin in at one time and then try to cure it. Because if you do, it will not cure all the way through. You have to be able to get that light all the way through it. Now, for UV resin, you need to have transparent molds, because if you don't have transparent molds, the light cannot get through to it. So, about adding product, you can use resin dye. I wouldn't recommend using alcohol inks. Alcohol and UV resin typically don't like each other, and you may get some rippling and that sort of thing on top of your UV resin. Resin dye is to be used with UV resin, so that's a good choice. You can use mica powder in UV resin. Just don't go overboard and use too much, because if you do, the light will not penetrate. As far as acrylic paints, I've never used that, but I wouldn't recommend it. But any kind of mica powder or resin dye is what I would recommend. And Let's Resin has a whole line of resin dye and lots of mica powders that you can use. Now, they also have various colored lines of UV resin that are already pre-mixed, and you don't have to worry about mixing them. And so they have the dark type, which has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 18 colors, ranging from red to black. And then they also have a pearlescent type UV resin, which is like a sparkly resin, and there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 in that kit. So if you prefer not to mix anything in with your resin, then you can choose that line. They also have a black and white resin that is already pre-mixed. So if you're afraid to mix a black or a white and it be too much, you can choose to use black and white. And their black and white comes in 300 grams, and it comes with 1 white and 2 black. Now, I think they might have another set of these, but this is the one I have, which is the 1 white and 2 black. And then the other that they have is the high viscosity, which is a much thicker UV resin. And the high viscosity is also crystal clear in yellow resistance. The high viscosity is an 80D hardness. It also has less than 2% shrinkage as well. Great for topping, doming spheres, 3D coating things, jewelry. You can use it for wire inlays. And the reason that is such a good product for those kinds of things is because it's thicker. It's got a higher viscosity and it's not going to move on you as much as the lower viscosity in the clear hard type. Also a great tool to have in your arsenal. They do have another UV resin. I don't have it here because I've never used it, but it's the clear soft type. Information about that is that it has a 15D hardness. So the lower the number, the softer the type. The clear has 85, the high viscosity has 80, and so the clear soft pot type has 15D. So the lower the number, the softer the resin is. You would probably use this for things that you want to have like a bendy, surface. It's got a viscosity of 2000 CPS and it also has less than 2% shrinkage. Like if you wanted to make like those little charms, for your Crocs, that would be a good choice for those. Or if you wanted to make some pins and you wanted them to be bendy, you could use it for that. So there's lots of different things that you could use the soft type for. We've already went over the black and the white. The good thing also about the black and the white is you could mix the black and whites together to create like a gray. You could mix in like the pearlescent white with the black to make it more of a sparkly gray. So all of their UV resins are interchangeable. So you can make colors, you can mix them, whatever it is that you want to do. That's what I love about this line, is that you can interchange them and not have to worry about compromising your resin. That's also a good thing on this resin. Now, my next absolute favorite thing that they have in their line is the UV resin kit for bonding. And that is this. I use this every single day. When it says UV resin kit for bonding, that means it's like a glue. That is and it comes with a little UV resin flashlight that is rechargeable. Also a bonus. This will cure in 5 to 10 seconds. So you put it on your product, you use your flashlight, it cures in 5 to 10 seconds. You don't have to wait 2 to 3 minutes to cure it. So if you're needing to bond something together real quick or put something on a project, then use your UV bonding kit and it'll bond it in 10 seconds. So that is a actual bonus. And like I said, I use it every single day on something because it's that good. And why you would choose this bonding kit over others is because you have to wait to cure it. It is an invisible bond. It doesn't leave like like when you're using like super glue or epoxy, the mixed together bonding epoxy and that, you won't see the edges. It will bond immediately and you won't see that you've bonded something together. So that is also a plus. You can use it on metals, wood, glass. You can use it on resin, but they don't recommend you use it on dark plastic or ceramic. That's the only items that they recommend you not use this on. And I'm assuming it's probably because they're not compatible with the bonding kit. That is all of the products that they have. You may have tried other UV resins before and maybe struggled with common issues like sticky surfaces, heavy shrinkage, or poor clarity. But with Let's Resin, their UV resin performs perfectly with none of those problems, and I've explained that already. Many of the budget UV resins tend to turn yellow over time. This does not. A lot of the budget UV resins have a very strong odor. I can attest to that because I've used them, and the Let's Resin does not have a strong odor. It also has a very crystal clear finish. As I said before, excellent yellowing resistance for long lasting makes. I also wanted to go over some of their UV kits because if you're a beginner and have never worked with UV resin before, I would highly recommend getting their UV resin starter kit, and that is this. What this UV resin starter kit contains is some little stir sticks, some little pots, a mat, UV resin light, and it has two 100-gram bottles of UV resin. It's the perfect little kit to get you started for you to experiment with the Let's Resin UV resin. That way you can see what I'm talking about and enjoy the experience of the UV resin. Now, the other kit that I also would recommend is this 100-piece floral jewelry making kit. This is amazing. I've used it already, so I'm just going to show you what's in it. You get 3 molds for making flowers. You get all of these finishings with it. You get little cups. There was some stir sticks in here. It has a little UV resin light in there. It comes with 5 colors of UV resin dye: red, yellow, green, black, violet, and blue. And it also comes with the pearlescent UV resin in, I think it was 5 colors. I think I may have taken one out, I'm not sure. And all the lids. And so if you like to just play and create keychains and, you know, all of that good stuff, then this is the kit for you. So in a nutshell, guys, that is it for what Let's Resin has to offer and what all of their UV resins are about. Jump in, start something new. If you haven't tried it yet, I recommend that you do. You will be thoroughly impressed by how their product is compared to some of the other budget brands. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask me about them. They do have 3 different types of UV lamps. They have a double-sided lamp. They have a hands-free, or a cordless, and it comes up like that. And so they have several different UV lamps for your whatever's convenient for you. And so it makes it so much easier for you to cure things. So, and then of course they have a UV flashlight on its own. You can buy it separately. And this is what it looks like. And it does take batteries. It's not rechargeable. So, as I said before, these are all the products that Let's Resin offers. The only thing I didn't have was the soft type. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I'd be happy to help you with them. I'm not making anything today. Today was just a video to explain all of the differences of their resins and what they have to offer. All right, guys, well, that's it for this demonstration video. Hopefully you got something out of it. If I missed anything, please feel free to let me know that too. I tried to cover everything. We'll see you later. Thanks for coming in with me on this demonstration video. Have a great day. Bye.